Hey everybody, my name is Jim Farmer. I am the festival director of Out on Film. We are celebrating our 35th anniversary film festival this year with a lot of great films. Actually, we're opening tonight, and I just cut myself shaving as I got ready. So I got a big old band-aid. I don't want to bleed all over the place. So I have a big band-aid. But anyway, thanks for being ready. I am so delighted at all the films that we're showing as part of our festival. One of my favorites this year is called Phantom Project, and we have the director that we're going to speak with in just a moment. Let me read a brief description of Phantom Project, and then we'll jump into the Q&A. In the new film Phantom Project, Pablo is a young actor who dreams of starring in a film. In order to make ends meet, he has to work as a simulated patient in medicine schools and weird sessions of alternative therapies. But it's not only his career that seems stuck. His life also seems to be spiraling as he's still in love with his successful ex-boyfriend, and his roommate disappears without paying rent, leaving behind several problems, including a ghost. Phantom Project is streaming as part of Adult Film's 35th anniversary, and I'm so delighted to be speaking with the director, Roberto Doveris. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm very happy.
Absolutely. I love this film. It's just light and it's comedic. It's a whimsical. I just really enjoyed this film. I guess my first question that I always start with: how did this project come up for you?
Oh, it's a difficult question actually, because the project was shoot in three times different years.
Okay.
So it was changing. The most part of it was shot during the quarantine, but 5 days were shot before the pandemic situation.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, and I wrote the script several times. So I will say that how it started because I wanted to make a film, an independent film in a small scale, with my friends and have fun, because I'm a producer as well, and I have produced much bigger films before.
Sure.
And I was a little bit tired of the industry requirements.
Exactly.
So I made this film that felt like very, cozy, very, do it by yourself stuff. And I also could work with my friends, which is something very happy to do in the pandemic. As you can remember, the first months of the pandemic, we were, not allowed to see our friends or our families. So as soon as we got the permission to do this, the first thing I wanted to do is to see my friends,
So a lot of your friends are part of the cast and crew with this feature? Nice.
Almost everyone is a friend of mine. I will say that only some technical roles are made by people that are my friend now. But no, yeah, everyone, I will say.
Would you
even the dog?
Would you say that this is based on any kind of inspiration, perhaps some of your life, or what was the inspiration for this?
I would say that I'm very I'm a big fan of genre films, but also art house films. And I usually, as director, try to go to a place in between both.
Okay.
So the ghost allowed me to talk about our inner ghost, like the being in love with your ex-boyfriend. It's
exactly
such a bad place to be, and also, going to the sexual experience as well, which also was inspired by the pandemic, being alone in your home.
Exactly.
How can you have a sexual active life there alone in your flat, And
There's an infamous sex scene in this film that I'll ask you about later. But I guess can you tell us? I mean, I read a little bit about Pablo, but just tell us more about Pablo. What all he's dealing with as the film opens. Obviously, he's having some professional challenges. He's having some personal challenges. But what else is Pablo dealing with as the film opens?
well, Pablo is a character very special because I think it's inspired by Juan, which is the actor that plays Pablo.
Yeah.
We were flatmates many years ago.
Oh, nice.
We are very good friends. So a lot of the things that Pablo has to go through, I was inspired by Juan's experiences.
Okay.
But a funny thing is when when journalists ask Juan about his inspiration in the interpretation of the role, he says that he was inspired by me.
Oh, really? That's great.
Yeah. So I think the character is in between. I'm not an actor, so every the frustration of being an actor and going to a casting and not getting the role, that's something that I've never lived, but my mate Juan was happens that all the time, also working in these jobs that he doesn't like, which is these medical situations with medicine students or these alternative therapists. So he doesn't enjoy that, and but I can get I can understand the frustration, because when you are a filmmaker, you also have a lot of no's, no roles, but financing. A festival can say no to you, a distributor can say no to you. So so there's a crisis. I think it's a professional crisis. Realizing that you are 30 something now, and you are not exactly what you expected you to be. So I think it's a crisis of the when you get to the 30.
Yeah. I mean, so Pablo has got a lot going on in his life. I mean, he's got, problems at work, problems trying to find a job as an actor, and then obviously problems at home, with his roommate leaving and rent not being paid. And on top of this, all of a sudden there's a ghost. Can you talk a little bit about the ghost and how the appearance of the ghost just really affects Pablo and changes him moving forward?
Yeah, I like the thing that the interpretation regarding the ghost is really open. So probably when you are watching the film, you have your own interpretation about the ghost.
Yes.
It's really open, but for me, the ghost is real, and I think the ghost also has a connection with Pablo's inside, his feelings or his frustration as well, because even if he's living bad things, he's really not endorsing it. He's always like trying to make people happy,
Exactly.
the others happy, and he always is trying really hard to be nice and cute and polite. So it's not somebody who's embracing his anger or frustration, and that's because why the ghost is so important, because it allows him to connect with something really pulsional. Drive. Yeah
I love the tone of this film because, as I mentioned earlier, it's whimsical, it's comedic. There's a little bit of fantasy in there. There's the ghost element, but it's also very character driven because you really get to know Pablo, and as you said, there's some ambiguity about whether the ghost is there or not, and what it's doing to him. Can you talk a little bit about capturing that tone, and when you started, how you wanted to proceed with those various tones in the film?
Yeah, at the beginning, I will say that the most surprising tone for me was the comedy,
Yeah,
because
exactly.
my previous film is a very darky film, very like opera prima, dark, sexy dark. And the first draft of Phantom Project wasn't a comedy at all,
Oh,
you
really?
know.
Okay.
No, but because of the characters, while I was writing, I always were like, yeah, and he says that, and I was laughing all the time, and I realized that it was going to be a comedy. So the comedy came after, in a
Sure.
second or third version of the script, and the whimsical, I think it's something that I like to explore all the time. I think it's part of what films allows us to, the fiction as well, to go to something that we don't understand at all.
Exactly.
And it's fun, it can be creepy as well, but yeah, it's fun to explore that
Yeah.
places where, you know and yeah, I think that's the tones, but also, you talked about characters, and yes,
Hmm.
I felt like each character should have a film, you know because
Exactly.
because there's a lot of characters, and they are very like, with a very specific ways of speaking, and all kind of characters. So I think it was, I feel like you can see how much I love the characters when I wrote them and when I
Absolutely.
was directing. I
Absolutely.
have,
Because
yeah, right.
it feels like all these characters have backstories. I mean, you could at any time switch to these characters and tell their story, and it'd be a lot more movie. But yeah, kudos to that. So everybody that I know who's watched this film, and I don't want to give any spoilers away, but everybody that I know that has seen this film always wants to talk about the sex scene, which can you just talk a little bit about the sex scene, and how you approach that, and obviously your main actor, how you approached the sex scene with the ghost, so to speak.
Yeah, about that, this is like a point of view in life. I'm a Scorpio, so
Mhm,
for me, sex is something really important,
mhm.
and it also can be a way of, solving conflict
Sure.
or opening gates, something really important for the body and for the person.
Mhm.
So, having said that, for me, sex uh, fulfills this function in the script.
Sure.
And I say it in general because it also happens in my first film, like a sex scene changes everything. And in this case, in Phantom Project, I think the fact that he decides to, not be afraid anymore with the ghost, and let he explores the sexual thing of the ghost, also, like, helps him to, be more relaxed
Sure.
and connected with what he was really feeling. And also, I wanted to make a very sexy scene,
Yeah,
because I
it's
wanted
very sexy.
for the audience to experience it as important as it is for the character.
Exactly. So the film has been, you've had a real healthy festival run this year. Congratulations on that. I know you've done a lot of festivals here in the States. Can you talk a little bit about, where all the film has been playing of late, and where the film's going to be playing eventually, and what the future plans are for the film?
Yeah, I think for by now the film is only in festivals.
Hmm.
I think it's also in some airlines like KLM or Iberia. So we are really starting right now. But as far as I know, in USA, it will be available on theaters in October, and later in VOD and DVD. So we have a distributor in USA, which is Dark Star Pictures.
We work really well with Darkstar. Darkstar is great.
Yeah, I have been a big fan of their titles before. So when they picked Phantom Project, I were like, yes. Internationally, I don't know if in USA this is going to work. I think it won't. But internationally, worldwide, it's going to be in Movie, the streaming platform, the next year. I don't know if I am allowed to say this, but anyway, doesn't matter. It's going to be from January to 24, I think.
That's wonderful.
So it's very good because it allows you to reach audiences everywhere, like literally everywhere. But USA, because we have a distributor there that has to make the its own choices, you know.
Exactly.
And yeah, I think it's going to be a long way. We're going to be in theaters also in some countries in Latin America, Colombia, Argentina, and Chile. But yeah, the way, the path is starting now. So yeah, festivals, I think it's the main way to reach the film right now.
Exactly. Now, obviously I'm in Atlanta, but where are you right now?
What do you mean where?
I mean, where are you located right now?
Oh, I'm in Chile. I work in Chile all the time. Yeah, in Santiago, as you can see in the film, it's really like settled in the city. And right now I'm in the beach because I'm, reading scripts for picking new projects in the future. But yeah, I basically work in Chile all the time. We do a lot of co-productions with Europe or other Latin American countries because there's a lot of financing in the co-production.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm based in Chile.
That's great.
This was recorded from Chile.
I mean, do you think that there is a lot of queer product, a lot of queer titles coming from Chile right now, more so than there used to be?
Well, actually, I'm in the beach also because I'm writing a book about LGBT Chilean films. So I have a number. Between 2010 and 2020, we have almost 60 films that talk about LGBT issues or have a character or the main character, So that's a lot. It's almost like 18% of the global number of films. They talk about LGBT films, so it's huge. It's something that is happening right now. I think in Chile we have, a very nice environment to talk about this kind of issues. I can say that because I have been in other countries in Latin America, and it's not as well as in Chile.
Okay.
So yeah, I think it's important. Also because these films travel everywhere. So there are it's topics that everybody can talk about, and watch the issue in the screen. It's really important. I know you know about this more than me.
That sounds like fascinating. I'm looking forward to reading that when this time, and kudos for doing that. Thank you for the work. I'm sure there's a lot of work involved with that. Thank you so much for doing that. The film is Phantom Project, and it is streaming as part of Out on Film's 35th anniversary. We love the film here at Out on Film. I'm sure you're going to love it as well. And I'm so delighted to have spent time today with the director of the film, Roberto Doveris. Roberto, thank you so much for making this film. Thank you for sharing this film. And we look forward to hearing from you again. And I cannot wait to read your book. This is going to be a fascinating read. So finish it up quickly. Finish it up this week or next
week.
I can read it over the holidays. That's great. Roberto, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Have a great rest of the day. Thanks.
Bye-bye.